So obviously the characters went through an awful lot of iteration. From the very go, we knew that we wanted this really crazy size discrepancy between them, where the general would be absolutely huge and Even would be absolutely tiny. And we even toyed with this idea that as the general got angrier, he swelled and grew. So if he was really angry, he'd be like 4 times the size of Even, and as he calmed down, he came more down towards the same size. And it was one of those lovely ideas that we couldn't get it working with the cinematography of it. But I think one of the things that was really tricky with the characters to capture, particularly with the general, was how do we have this person who's incredibly scary at the beginning of the game, who really softens, and kind of the journey of the game in a lot of ways is the journey of the general just becoming more and more and more human, till at the end of it they feel like you genuinely feel like they're friends, whereas when they start off and there's this really antagonistic relationship. And I think a lot of it, sort of comes down to Gunnar and Paul's performances, which were just, we kind of got their audition tapes and it was just obvious who it was going to be. We sat them down in the studio. They sat across a desk like the interrogation scene. We set it up like the interrogation scene and sort of like mic them up. And they just started talking. And after about half an hour, I thought, didn't even need to have written a script for this. They are these people, and they could just kind of probably improvise the whole thing if we just played the game. So and that's amazing. When that sort of stuff happens, it's absolutely magical as a developer. You just go, oh yeah, okay, we've got this. We've got the best people we could possibly have on this.
Yeah, I think having the best people has really helped as well, because Orpheus is a game finished in quarantine. Let's not forget, we were kind of a few months out from finalizing the game when the lockdown hit, and we all had to down tools, go home, and have all our kits sent home to work from home for I can't remember how long it was now, about a month, about 2 months that we finished the game.
Yeah, no, it's a good 2 or 3 months. And it's the critical point. You're going through QA and you're doing refinement, you're really focusing, you're talking about saying, could we make that happen 1/4 of a second later? Could we move that asset kind of, a few pixels to the left, just to absolutely really sort of hone it and make it perfect? And you're normally doing that by all sitting around in front of a computer, moving it in real time, doing it in real time. And suddenly you're at a point where somebody's got to do it, then either screen share, and at that point, you're still working, maybe the connection's not great, or you're having to wait then half an hour for a video to arrive and then go, it's not quite right, can you do it again? So everything just takes that much longer. And I think it's a real kind of credit to the team that they actually managed to go through that process at a point where actually they were always also everyone's trying to figure out, the changes to their sort of lives. People with kids are suddenly dealing with kind of homeschooling because schools are closed. We've got people that are completely isolated, living on their own, sort of like dealing with the reality of that. So it was really, really, really impressive that they pulled together and made it happen. And also, one of those times where you feel really privileged and lucky to be working with a group of people that just supported each other, made sure each other were right, constantly looking out for each other, helping out, and really stepped up to the challenges of it, but did it in a way that made me feel like it was a real privilege to be working alongside them.
Yeah, everyone really stepped up at that point, and like you say, normally a lot of those decisions are made with us all sat around a single machine, talking it through, moving it left, moving it right, winding up a level designer who just wants to get on with his work while we all sit over his shoulder telling him to put it back 2 pixels to the left. But this time we really had to empower people to kind of go out there and make the decisions, fix the things on their own. And I mean, everybody stepped up in every single department. And I mean, the sheer fact that we shipped a game in lockdown still kind of amazes me.
Yeah. And I think that also, it speaks to sort of Sumo as well as a family of businesses that, when it was happening, it was so seamless. There wasn't a sense of, all right, we're going to sort this out. The decision was made before anyone had to even ask, is it okay? Do you think I might need to shield this out to be all right? It was already, this is happening. And then almost within the day, people's computers were at home, everything they needed, people's networks were getting sorted out. And that at that point, Sumo was I think it was over 800 people. And that happened across the entire family of studios, that just the whole thing went remote. Incredibly stress-free, and I think that's a real, credit has to be paid to, Sumo management, but also to the IT department. It's sort of the unsung sort of heroines and heroes of this, who don't often sort of like get their time in the spotlight, but all those people that are doing things like going, can we make sure that that Perforce and our version control system work? Have we got VPN set up? Has everyone got the sort of Wi-Fi or internet access they need in order to make this happen? And it's a huge amount of work went on behind the scenes for that to happen.
This sequence coming up was interesting. So Ivan thinks believes he's fled the T-Rex for the final time, but we're going to bring it back for one more chase. Now, what we originally envisioned this as the T-Rex properly chasing Ivan, like full speed, coming after him, and then of course you put the T-Rex model into a size that you think it should look like, and one footstep is way past Ivan before Ivan's even begun to run. So we had quite a few iterations of this bit, and eventually we settled on a more kind of stalking kind of behavior for the T-Rex. And actually, I think it worked out far better than the previous one.
So, what's next for little Orpheus? Obviously, we have this lovely, convenient gap of 2 years that they even can't remember, that we specifically wrote in to go, if we want to take this further, we have loads and loads of space to put more adventures in. And I think all of us feel like there's a lot more story to be told here. These people have really fallen in love with the characters, so it would be good to pick it up again. So, who knows? Hopefully, it would be lovely to come back and share some more unlikely adventures with Ivan. But I guess it'll depend. He needs a rest. He probably needs to have a think about some other things that he did. Remember some other stuff that he had forgotten to tell us the first time around.
Will our intrepid yet doomed hero survive the jaws of the ferocious dinosaur? Will he meet his end miles underground as an aperitif for a ravenous raptor? What dark secrets could be buried in the lost city of Agatha? Will the General ever discover the location of his lost bomb? All of these questions and more will be answered in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus!